Okay, so hello guys. So we have the update or the preview for the Genshin Impact 3.5 3.1 review for the anniversary and stuff. So this is one of the reviews. It's probably one of the biggest ones that you're gonna check out is because this is a basically a new mini game and a card game to boot. So that's gonna be quite popular, especially for players. So there are a lot of players who likes to play card games, and especially the game right now, it's basically single player. So there's not much of an interaction for with other players, per se. There are events like the boat thing, but you don't really want to play with that with other players. You just want to finish it solo. And what's more is that it's kind of boring, right? If you want to play with multiplayer, usually it's about competitiveness and stuff like that, and probably to have more fun. Okay, so this is like the TCG card game. It says PvP and PvE gameplay. So basically that's that. It has an animation, right? I'm assuming this is what I assume. All of the cards, basically, there would be split into two type. Two types would be the first type would be this one. I assume this could be called skill cards, right? So these like skill cards that you can use as a player to like use an effect. Probably this could be a stun or a draw. So I've made this review based on other people's review. Okay, so I I understand what they can see, but some of these kind of empty, right? It's like there should be much more, right? There's no life points like in Yu-Gi-Oh. There's no like system to identify the basically what's the goal here, right? What's the gameplay all about? What's the goal for each player? Like there's no life points and stuff like that, right? So I'm assuming this represents as characters, which is odd because there's already characters. Obviously, these are the characters you get in the game, right? But there's also the Oceanid, right? So it's kind of weird. Probably they're gonna include the characters and the other bosses, right? This could be what it meant. So there's also another thing I categorize is there's probably are gonna be a rarity system because if you see here, Mona, this four, obviously these are 5 stars, right? So they have these three stuff. So these three glowing things. Like, see, if you saw that, before D-Look use his burst, he has three yeah, he has three things. These three light that lights up. So I'm assuming each of these is like a charge or probably a energy or something, right? And these are for 5 stars, something like that. And for lower rarity units, they would have two. But that doesn't really make sense because if you have two of these, or probably if you have higher of these, you have higher burst ability or something like that. Because look at Sinshu, he has two of these, right? So it's kind of weird for now. But we've seen that the damage from 10 to 8. So the goal will probably be destroy all the cards. So it's basically just kill all your main characters. So the next thing would be this thing here. So I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure this could be cards, right? This looks like cards. You probably draw them, right? So in Sumeru, there are those people, right? The mobs, the treasure hunters. They're playing this game. So like they're playing this game, and then they're like they're like not drawing something like that, but I think this is our draw cards that you should draw. So these are probably the skill cards, right? Since if these are used, so what next, right? You can't just use this again, right? You're probably gonna have to have a lot of cards, right? Since my guess is that there are character cards and there are skill cards, right? So they're probably gonna give us a lot of character cards that we could get in the overworld, right? Then we have these skill cards, right? We should have probably have a lot of skill cards that we could draw, because otherwise, if you think about this, if you have only this card and these skills, it would be quite very unbalanced, right? Because if you imagine this, if there are no cards that each player can draw to out another, it would just be all of the players would just use the meta, right? They would have the same set of characters against each other with the same skills. So just think of that. If you don't draw cards, that would be very stale. So just basically, it's basically gonna be a toss coin. Who goes first? Who goes second? Right? So that I assume there should be a draw system. You should draw cards to out. So something like a boost, something to gain a charge, or something like to gain a life point for your character, something like that. Because if you have this preset like this, you just put like two skills, like something like this, if you consider the skills, right? And that you consider the skills and this, and you basically don't draw cards. And if there's a meta in the game, something like that, because if it's a card game, there's always gonna be a meta, right? Because people just want to optimize and they just want to win, right? So if it's like that, it's just gonna be stale. Everybody's gonna play the same card. So obviously, I think it's also PvP, right? You should be able to play with other players. So this, I wrote something in a notepad. So this is what I think. So there should be like the expectations, right? So the expectations that I think should be that should have PvP against other players, right? So if there's no PvP against other players, no one's gonna play this. Let's just be honest. If there's none of this, no one's gonna play this. No one's gonna like try to like do anything, I guess. Because especially for players that don't really play the card game types of games, no one's gonna play that, because like if you're playing against bots, right? That's just gonna be very boring. Also reward system too. So if you like play, I think if it's just like a few, not primo gems, but just an item for enhancement, like the stones you mine, so that's tedious. They could just gain like a 5, they could just drop something like that. So leaderboard, so if a game like this has no leaderboard or MMR, people will keep getting matched with someone that's very addicted to playing card games. So if you got matched to some tryhard like that and you're just very casual like you, it would be very annoying, right? So you're not gonna have fun with that mini game or something like that. So there should be a leaderboard. I think they should add that. It's not gonna hurt anyone, right? It's just small leaderboard and MMR match up for this kind of players. Like they could enjoy that level, right? So free to play, no gacha for cards. So they probably said it in the video, no gacha. So I think that's very good, because if there's a gacha in the card game, that's just another gacha within a gacha, right? That's like the system already. That's just, I don't know, man. I don't think no one's gonna really invest in that game, right? So I think free to play should we should get the new cards per new content. So obviously, I think this is gonna be implemented properly, because if they added a new character, new content, the cards would be based on that new content. So next would be the fast gameplay. So this is actually important, you know. Fast gameplay is actually important. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, right? That game is insanely slow. Like, I managed to finish an episode of anime which is 24 minutes before I even finish one duel. I don't think anyone's gonna want to play that game. If it's that slow, no shit. No, not gonna play that. So you play Genshin Impact, you open the game to get the dailies. That's what mostly the rule for gacha games. You open the game, get the dailies, get the gems or something, the currency, resources, farming. That's just a daily loop, right? So if you just wanna have fun, you're a few card game, right? You just wanna match up something feeling competitive, and the gameplay is like over 10 minutes. That's not gonna be a good game. Not a good game, or not a good card game, I say. So because there should be a timer. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. So big, because people will stall, and like if someone's stalling, and you just wanna have fun, right? It's gonna be super annoying, right? And the timer should be quite reasonable too. So because for new players and for players who likes to think, so timer is very important, right? That's why I don't really play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel anymore, because that's so freaking long. Like, I just wanna beat the shit out of my opponent, right? Why can you so you're just gonna set one card and you're gonna take all of the time. That's stupid. So we also see the Catherine here. So it doesn't really signify something, right? But from what I can see, it's like she's. I have no idea what she's here for, by the way. So what I can say is that it's probably a skill, right? But you have nothing in here, so probably just a design, because she has nothing of value in here. So we don't really know what that's for, right? Timer. So -2. So we probably can click on the cards, check on the stats. There is gonna be a stats, right? If there's no stats for cards, that's just weird for a card game. I mean, not for cards like poker and stuff, but for card games with including characters and stuff, there should be a stat point to differentiate, since there should be the skills too, right? We can tell if it's this, probably their HP is their damage. You can really turn, but there's also the element infusions, right? So you could proc or activate elemental infusions, elemental reactions. The art is super good. This is insane. If this becomes quite frequently updated and actually good gameplay, fast paced, this is gonna be quite popular. So people who doesn't play Genshin might actually just play for the card game, right? That's actually good, right? And also you could add competitiveness on a gacha game. Anyway, that's what I think first. So I'm pretty sure this is not probably gonna be the final. There's gonna be tweaks in here, right? So we should just hope they make this free to play, right? You don't wanna have to pull for stupid cards, right? I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. Also, sub, just sub.